at home. We don't need no violence, got no time for all you radicals. Screw your status quo, we're not animals. I won't kneel for the anthem, cause the flag is what I'm standing for. In America, your freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you say what we believe. My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you back your bags. America.
Hey, everybody out there in the interwebs. You have found us at the corner of Church and State. And I am your friendly neighborhood bearded weirdo, Nolan Bryan, coming at you loud and proud as I always do, with this magnificence upon my face.
That ridiculousness on your head.
And this guy with the wisecracks on the left, my left, your right,
Yes.
is my best friend, my compadre, the one, the only, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will
No, I
be,
don't like it.
the Pastor Gary Podosek. How are you doing today, brother?
Why you gotta bring the intro with that guy? I mean, I get what he did for the industry and all, and he's good, but he's not macho.
Oh yeah, brother.
I'm the cream of the crop.
So how you doing today, brother?
Today's a good day. We are on a different bad day.
Yeah, we're in a, see what it is we're in a different dimension. We've been teleported over here by an old red brick school, and so we're just.
Whoa! Yeah, you can't put two white guys, by a school. What's wrong with you? I'm not trying to go to jail.
Well, you're the one that drove the white van.
I mean, Joe Biden's the only one that's allowed to be in the school with kids.
What was the real reason for the egg rolling at the White House this week?
Don't worry, Joe Biden's got him under control. She's got him. She's got those.
Sit down.
No,
Sit.
No. She got the collar. She got the shot collar. She's
Yeah, we're on a
corrections
different,
now.
but we are on a different time zone. We're going to start doing this on every other Tuesday.
That's correct.
So that we can have our new man behind the cam. It would be Steve-O.
Yep.
Not the Steve-O from that, but this is a different Steve-O.
This is our Steve-O.
This is our Steve-O, whom we love, and he's going to be controlling the computer and the camera.
He's called a producer.
Yes,
Call him a
he will be
producer.
our. He will be.
It's what they have a title.
He's going to produce.
He's not the producer. He's not doing springtime for Hitler over there.
Just got a guy behind the scenes that does things and
he clicks buttons.
Put him to work.
He clicks buttons.
But hopefully over time, with the show will improve with his prowess.
Yes.
That's the
He does have a radio background.
Yes.
Very much a face for radio, and we love that face.
Face for radio and a voice.
So we've made some upgrades. We got a backdrop now. There will be more to come over time. But so now we're here on Tuesdays, so that our brother here can sleep in on his day off on Wednesdays.
There we go. Trying to make things work.
Trying to make it work. Trying to grow this thing.
Yep.
So today we're going to start a series. A series of things talking about the heart, pretty much basically the heart, the foundation of America, the character of America, that so many people have, well, to be honest, just look around, they've forgotten.
Forgot.
Erased it, deleted.
Oh, that's better. You're doing better.
Delete.
I mean, they literally, they've deleted stuff. That's not fiction.
They've destroyed monuments.
Well,
They have...
removed the Ten Commandments from...
That was years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
They removed it from schools. I remember when I was in schools. They've removed, they tried to get In God We Trust off our money, but instead they put it behind the back of the head, which is meaningful, which has a meaning in and of itself.
Yeah.
That America's turned their back on God.
This is true.
They've attempted several times to try to take Under God out of the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah, but they don't even have them do the Pledge of Allegiance anymore.
Well, no,
They
they don't have to.
But you can pray to the queer God and pledge allegiance
The great he, she in the sky?
to the rainbow flag. That you can do in school.
Yes.
The American flag.
Well, and speaking of the words under God, or more appropriately, one nation under God, that is going to be the topic of today.
Yeah.
This country, whether y'all want to admit it or not, was founded on Christian Judeo principles. It was founded...
Sorry.
Yeah. If we've now lost viewers, bye, Felicia.
I'm sorry, but It's true. It's what we developed this nation on, and hopefully, if we do our job today, everybody who's listening and paying attention on Rumble, right? Watching us on Rumble and
YouTube. Last episode, first time up on YouTube.
First time on YouTube.
I will tell you, and it'll be up on the link.
So now we have to tell people to smash the Rumble button and actually
Punch the like button.
Hit the like button.
Yes, hit the like button. Punch the Rumble button.
It feels dirty.
What, to hit it and punch it?
No, being on YouTube. Just generally speaking.
I wanted to throw the computer last week when I was setting up the channel because they waited till the end after I had downloaded the full episode. They waited till the end to then do a pop-up that said, you can't do videos over 15 minutes because you haven't verified that you are who you say you are. Wait, you wait till now? An hour of downloading and now?
I mean, again, that is what
So we are on YouTube, against my better judgment, but I've been told by other creators who are much more famous than me that I should do it. So I'm going to take their advice because, well, they're much more popular
So
than
we're
me.
there now too, so yay!
And also, you'll find this out again at the end. Go to the link. We are on Patreon now.
Ooh.
We have it set up. Now
I pronounce it Patreon.
Patreon.
Well, because they're
Patreon.
No.
I don't know what, like.
No, it's definitely not that. Whatever that is that you just said. Delete
So
that.
anyway, we're on Patreon. You can look right now. We don't have merch. When it does come, what we are asking is anybody who wants to see this grow, an investment,
What
if you
Patreon's
will,
about.
then subscribe to give money,
Yep.
and that will help defer some of the costs of this. Cameras are expensive. Laptop upkeep is expensive. Different programs can have
microphones,
monthly charges.
Having somebody operate the camera.
Yes. Right now, paying for my son to handle all the social media aspects. So that's what we're going. But like I said, we're going to talk about one nation under God. And again, if we've offended you, oh well, suck it up, buttercup. Get over it. Because it's the truth. Everything that has to do with this country. Now, granted, this country has gotten warped. Things have been distorted. But in the beginning, even as early as Plymouth Rock, when they signed the documents back then, it was all about, forming this country to be something for God. And they weren't going to let things get in the way of that. And then, in doing so, they built a relationship with the Native Americans. Mm-hmm. And then there was only a war. The chief actually got saved, moved the village closer. And then it was his grandson that was like, no, we're sick of this. And he started the war with them. And then even all the way through our founding fathers, they believed that we shouldn't have been taxed the way that we should have been. And, I mean, a couple of our founding fathers were deists. They didn't even believe in God, really, or they believed in a God. But they still saw the importance of making this country one nation under God.
And that's where I want to start tonight, because I think that's kind of the biggest keys. And matter of fact, I was listening to Ben Shapiro. I know you're not the biggest Ben Shapiro fan.
It's his voice.
Well, yeah, but if you actually bring him down to 2 times slower, he sounds like a normal person.
Well, we give him a little bass.
No, it doesn't really give much bass, but I mean, you can actually understand him better. And I joke, Ben, I don't think Ben would listen to us, but anyway, you never know. You catch a fly. But he said something profound, because there was this video that apparently went out about some Christians on a flight. It was
you mean they were worshiping God on an airplane?
On a charter flight, by the way. It was a charter flight. So, they weren't bothering or harassing people. They were just enjoying time on their flight, like a bus ride or something like that.
And going to the Ukraine to help people, mind
Correct.
you.
All this is good. And Ilhan Omar had to chime in with her anti-Semitic, anti-Christian, garbage, and talking about how if she prays, to her
if they
God
did their
on a plane,
Muslim prayer,
how would that be received? And it's like, okay, I get your point and I understand what you're saying.
I'm going to tell you how it's going to be received. Marshall?
Hold on, but Ben Shapiro said something that was so profound, and this is exactly at the crux of what it is. Here you have a man who is a practicing, traditional Jewish practitioner.
He wears the yarmulke.
He wears the yarmulke. He's very traditional to his faith and his beliefs. And he, a practicing Jew, said that he hopes that more Christians step up and start getting more vocal in politics and government and things
Yes.
like that, and that this nation has more of that because he understands the practicing foundation of this nation being founded on Judeo-Christian values is free because of Judeo-Christian values. It's not about a religious belief, it's about the God who makes this nation free.
Amen.
And the morals that are in that God, that what we believe, us two here. And
Well, the
who
only
actually all of
way
us here in this
to
room-
have morality, and I love when I hear people go, "You don't have to believe in a God to have morals." Well, then, yeah, you do, because you have to have a.
You have to have a sense of right and wrong. You have no sense of right
And
and
the
wrong.
only thing that gives you a sense of right and wrong is a God, is a creator, somebody who has laid down, this is what's good,
Right.
this is what's bad.
Right. And so, but here he is espousing, as a Jewish believer, not his faith.
Hey, he's halfway there.
Hold on, not his faith, not his belief system, but the Christian faith. Because he understands that there is something important in the values that Christians have and what they believe and what they bring, right? That absolutely allows this nation to be the way it is. And this has been proven because you can go to every other nation and where you have dictators, where you have communism, where you have socialism, where you have outright, enslavement of people,
Monarchies
and tribalism and all this stuff, they don't have Christian faith in there.
And any country that we have gone to war with and then later tried to help them emulate our country's government,
Doesn't work
They
unless they
can't
have
because
Christian
they
faith.
don't have
Yeah,
our
I mean,
belief
just look
system.
at the Saudi Arabia and
Afghanistan, Pakistan, everything we
all
did
that. And so this is the crux about this, and of course what the title of the subject, One Nation Under God, clearly gets its draw from our Pledge of Allegiance, which I don't think many people understand. That the under God part of the Pledge of Allegiance was only introduced in 1954.
And there's another episode that we're going to go through.
We'll
to
talk more
explain-
about the Pledge of Allegiance later.
And another episode, but because there's reasoning for it, and there was a thought
Right.
process that wasn't exactly correct, and it took several times to fix.
Right.
But
But
Dwight D. Eisenhower,
of all people, right? I don't look at Dwight Eisenhower in presidencies and go, yeah, oh yeah, he was great. I'm like,
ish.
yeah. I mean, but you know what though? There's a quote, and I want to pull up the quote because I think this is going to tell the story, and it'll also
Quotes
give
are
us
important.
and it, again, reference it. You can check it out on your own. But this is from Eisenhower himself. It says, "From this day forward, the millions of our school children will daily proclaim in every city and town, every village and rural schoolhouse, the dedication of our nation and our people to the Almighty. In this way, we are reaffirming the transcendence of religious faith in America's heritage and future. In this way, we shall constantly strengthen those spiritual weapons which will forever be our country's most powerful resource in peace or in war." And I cannot disagree with that quote.
Nope.
At all. And
Nope.
the lookout of what has happened over the course of time from that day till now, the absence of faith, people believing in God, people moving away from the Christian values and the Christian faith system has made us into inward fighting, shallow, not able to own or be responsible for anything that we have. We don't want responsibility anymore. We don't want to defend our own borders, for Pete's sake. Like,
Oh yeah, every other country is allowed to have borders but
no,
America.
hold on. We want to go help Ukraine defend its borders.
But not our own.
What about Texas?
Oh, they're sending them to DC.
You can't go and fight another country's border war when you can't even figure out what a border is on your own country.
Hey, that's because Mexico is not invading, they're just getting voters.
Look, I mean, they're all going to vote Republican anyway because they're leaving their regime for a reason. They don't want to be there.
No, they vote. They usually basically.
Ask any Cuban. Any Cuban whose road floats them, or is it Jetsam?
I understand what you're saying,
Jetsam or Flotsam? Which one is it?
Flotsam.
Flotsam. Is it
Flotsam
Flotsam?
and Jetsam?
Flotsam's the one that was dropped in there, and Jetsam is.
No, they were cut. Flotsam and Jetsam were the two.
No, it's Flotsam and Jetsam are actually real things. I know there were the two eels in Little Mermaid, but I'm not talking about
That's where my brain
Disney. I don't want
goes.
to talk about Disney. Get that communist garbage out of this
I
conversation.
mean, it's that groomer stuff.
Whatever. It's all terrible. Anyway, when you're talking about like these people who from Cuba like will swim, will float, whatever they can from
On car hoods.
from Cuba up to Florida, and they get here, and these people are allowed. They get amnesty. And they think they're going to vote Democrat.
Well, the problem is with the
No,
the
they're
problem
not.
is what they're doing with the border of Texas is that they're giving them all this free stuff. The Cubans didn't give them free. The only thing they gave them was amnesty and was like, all right, well, live a life. There
You
you
can
go.
give them free stuff. I guarantee you. They're
No, well,
still
no. What they're
not gonna
finding,
vote
what
Democrat.
I look.
They're just going to take the free
What's
stuff and then
happening-
vote Republican, and then they won't get the free
Well,
stuff
no.
anymore.
What's happening is that they're getting the free stuff. They'll
You're
vote.
saying the Democrats are bribing people?
Oh yeah, you didn't. They're no. They're not bribing. They're fortifying.
Oh, is that
They're
what it's called?
fortifying the elections.
Okay, sure. But I don't want to go too far off topic because we want to stick with the whole concept of
with
this
what
nation being
with what you were
underdog.
saying. John Adams in a speech.
Quincy?
It just says John Adams.
Okay,
Didn't
so
say
there's-
quick.
no,
It
there's
said
no-
second president, so it's John Adams.
Okay.
Okay, our second president of this country said to the military in 1798. He said, "We have no government armed with the power capable of contending with human passions, unbridled by morality and religion. Our Constitution was made only for moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other."
Again, good quote.
Basically, what it's saying is, anybody that's any liberal, leftist, whatever that's out there going, well, our government's broken, the Constitution is inadequate. It is, because you're immoral and you can't let it govern you. The only way, it can only work to govern the moral and the religious. And since they have made themselves religion, made themselves God, and they have turned away from the one true God, now it truly is a fact. When they say that the Constitution is old, it's inadequate, it is. Because it's not meant to govern them. It's meant to govern those of us who believe that this is a nation under God.
And here's the thing, and I will even acquiesce and give a little bit in the regard of over time, things change, times change. You insert technology, you insert all these different things into the realm, right? So it can muddy the waters or complicate things. So you
Not really.
Well, hold on. Bear with me. But here's the thing: in that ebb and flow, right? In the whole basis of this nation being under God, right? What I look at and I go, if all of these immoral people, all these immoral cases, all these immoral subjects are being introduced at a
Alarming rate.
right now, okay?
And if your alarm is not going off on these subjects, you need to open up your eyes.
But maybe that's the case, and this kind of supports my point, right? When you have a nation whose whole basis for what you are able to do is predicated on the moral compass and the freedom that comes with that moral compass. For example, right? What you turn around and say, well, I have the liberty or I have the freedom of speech, right? Mm-hmm. What is that based off of? It's actually based off of God's grace and God's mercy, right? Because from a biblical perspective, we all fall short of the glory of God,
Yes.
right? But because of God's mercy and because of God's grace, we are able to have an eventuality to come to this place where we can find redemption or where we can repent,
Mm-hmm.
right? Every single person right now in a fallen state is running wild with these rampant ideas. But the whole basis for what allows them to do that is something just like God's grace. The freedom in this country is only the freedom you have because of God's grace.
Yep.
Because the sovereignty of this nation looks at you and goes, I know what you're thinking right now. I know what you're doing right now. But if you were to wake up tomorrow and come face to face with me, everything you are saying right now would change.
Yeah, this is true.
And so, but he allows it. Why? Because he's not going to violate your free will. So
Yep.
every human being created under the sun has free will. And so what you're witnessing today is, whether we like it or not, is the freedom that people have to have free will that is belligerently against the morals and values of God. But this is where I go, these individuals like John Adams, like Eisenhower, and we could probably rattle off a whole bunch more.
Well, I've got a whole webpage.
I don't want to go into a quote heavy series, because I believe that there's a lot of things that are in you and that are in me here that we can give to them and go, look, if we don't, this is where this comes in. If we're one nation under God, and we recognize that the whole reason this is in existence is because we recognize it.
Yep.
Whether you do or not.
But just to give facts, they said, our founding fathers, the whole reason why we fought against the British, the whole reason why we did what we did. I mean, one of the greatest quotes everybody should be able to make: "Give me liberty or give me death."
Give me cake or death.
No, that's Monty Python. That's
No, it's not Monty Python. It's Eddie Izzard.
Oh, either way.
But he's funny. he's foul, but he's funny.
I get that. But we give me liberty or give me death. They knew that life on earth, without the liberties, without all the freedoms that God gives every human being, life was not worth living. Even the fact that they fought an entire war against a country's military that was 1,000 times better than our own at the time. They were better trained. They had better weapons. They had better everything. Okay, they had better accommodations for their soldiers. Yeah, because they just took it from the people. But I digress. But they had better everything, and a misfit group of people who believed that was not right in the eyes of God, and they took them, and they absolutely obliterated them. It took some time. We had some losses, but we obliterated. And then the even reason why we moved west is because we believed that God wanted us to have the whole country. There wouldn't even be a western part past the Mississippi. One, if we didn't buy it from the French, they hate us, but we still take our money.
They'd have given it up eventually.
But we wouldn't even have kept going west and built cities and everything else if it wasn't for the manifest destiny. Now, granted, were some mistakes made? Did we treat some indigenous people wrongly? Yes. But we believed this was to be our country, and we took it.
But see, and you mentioned that, and this is where I go. The mistakes that were made, right? Go back to what I said before, right? The previous statement about how this nation, the liberty we have, the freedom that we have is based off of entirely knowing that we can make mistakes because there's an opportunity every day you have breath in your lungs to correct it. You can repent. You can get it right.
I mean, the fact that we got rid of slavery when we did in this country is solely on the fact that our founding fathers put it in there that all men are created equal, which is exactly what God tells us. Ain't nobody better than the rest. In fact, Jesus says that the first will be last and the last will be first. So, we got rid of slavery on the sole fact of we could not, think it was okay in our own minds as a country to continue doing slavery with, say, every man is
right,
equal.
and that's just holding our own selves accountable.
Yeah, I mean, we've made mistakes, but the reality is we didn't bring slavery into the United States. The British did.
And it existed. And it still exists today.
Yes, the sex slave trade.
That. No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about actual indentured.
Well, yeah, there's that too. I mean, but even before slaves were brought to America, they were in Afghanistan, they were in the Middle East, they were in all over Africa, and
still are.
The a little bit of newsflash: the most slaves that have ever, when it comes to race, since people love to throw that word around, the race that has been sold into slavery more times than any other is camera back. So, I mean, we did these things because we knew that we couldn't keep doing in that direction,
right?
And say that we're a one nation under God. We were getting flagged by the missus.
Update.
She sent a text.
Yes.
You better read it.
She said, the land was purchased by blood, the blood of every person who died in the United States military. And it's true. But I do agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, I want to focus on, there's this one caveat that if we don't acknowledge this whole concept of what we're talking about tonight, it gets lost, right?
Well, what is your hors d'oeuvre that you want to talk about?
It's not the hors d'oeuvre, it's the steak. And you'll understand. Hear me out. When you turn around and we say one nation under God and you get offended, I don't care. Because the reality is the fact that you have the right to be offended is because this nation belongs to God. And hear me out. And the fact that I can say that to you means I have that freedom as well. So the same freedom that you want to use to stand up on your soapbox, pray to your queer God, force your LGBTQ crap down my throat, make me have to watch horrible movies from a communist regime on a pay-for program that with bunches of monopolies all over the place. And yes, they're monopolies because these 5 big industries can shut down a seated president. Okay?
Yep.
All right? So don't tell me it's not a monopoly, but all of the junk, all of the garbage that you guys want to force down my throat and tell me I have to accept, then guess what? You have to also accept me standing up for my faith, my beliefs, my God, and telling you that you're wrong. And you don't have to like that fact. You do not have to agree with me. I'm not asking for you to, but you cannot silence us. That's what has to happen.
Amen.
And so here's my point, and that's why I said it's stake. For the people who believe, the people who understand. I'm not saying you have to believe in. And I don't want this to come off offensive. Please don't take this as an offense.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
No, I don't. I don't, because people come from all different walks of faith. People come from all different walks of life. What I'm talking about are the people that still recognize that this nation is God's nation.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that this is God's chosen nation. I'm saying this nation has declared that God is the God of this nation.
This nation back
Christian God, not Muslim God, not Hindi God, not queer God. And I'm only saying this because yes, that's a thing, okay? And
at a chapel, in a college.
It does bother me, and yeah, I know they're just either A, being 100% trolls, or B, they're really heathens, but whatever the case may be, the point is that when you have a Christian God who looks at you in a different light than any of those other gods I mentioned, because every single, even this newfound queer God, is only going to apply to those who are queer. He doesn't care about you straight folk. He doesn't like you straight folk. He doesn't like you white cis males. He doesn't like you, okay? He only cares about the queer people. You know what? The Muslim God, he hates Jews, and he hates Christians. Right? He wants to kill them.
Yep.
Okay? Don't tell me I'm
Actually,
wrong. Go
read
read your Quran.
Read the Quran. It says to rape and kill the infidel.
Okay? All right. So that's that. All right? And I'm not going to talk about the Hindi gods, and I'm not going to talk about the.
You don't want to talk about the eight-armed wonder?
I don't want to talk about them. I don't want to get into all the Greeks, and I don't want to get into all that either, because I'm not picking on you. But I'm going to tell you this: the Christian God, the I am. That I am, right?
The great I am.
Okay? The Almighty One, He loves all of God's creation.
Yep.
He doesn't care that you worship another God.
Eventually, he is a bit jealous.
You will be judged for it.
Yes.
But, as it stands right now, while you still have breath in your lungs and you're walking on this planet, you have a chance.
You have the freedom to choose.
You have the freedom to choose, and in that freedom, He hopes that you will eventually choose Him, because He loves you. And He loves all of you. And that is what we, in this nation, fight for. The ability for us to be able to stand on that ground. And so when we say one nation under God, what it really means is that we want to fight for the ability to be able to love on you. You get loved on whether you like it or not. Too bad. But we don't care if you spit on us. We don't care if you give us the middle finger. We don't care if you scream, holler, and shout, whatever you want to do. But that is not going to change.
What about those certain shaped pink hats?
I don't care.
Oh, okay, they're okay.
Look, I'll just put a big old black bar over top of it. I'll just walk into the crowd. I'll carry a whole bunch of Velcro black bars, and I'll just go slapping them on top of them all over the place. And they're like, now you're rated PG. Congratulations, you've done well. But you know, like that kind of discourse is okay. I want you to understand it's okay. But if we, now this is the part, right? Remember that steak I told you about? Here's the part. If we, the people who believe that this nation belongs to God, don't stand up and fight for it, and wait for somebody else to do it, you've already surrendered. You've already surrendered.
This is a. I love the country that I was born in. I'm glad I was born here. I have the ability
Canada?
to worship. No. I was not born in Canada.
Chops.
I was
I
not
know
born
your
in Canada.
family's from
The
Canada.
only thing they
Your family's from Canada, but I just
they left for a reason too.
just busting your stones.
The only thing good that comes out of Canada anymore
Maple
is
syrup.
and poutine. But now I can make that at home myself.
Yeah, but that doesn't come from Canada. You can just make it. It's just Canadian.
I got the recipe.
But the syrup's good.
Yes, the syrup is very good. We have the freedom to worship God here. Any other country, we're getting killed. And believe it or not, those of you in the alphabet mob, the whatever you want to call yourselves, the gay nation, whatever, any other country, and you're getting murdered. Try to go to Afghanistan or Iraq or any Muslim nation and say I'm queer and I'm here, and then go. You're dead. There's your head.
You'll hear a gun cock as soon as you.
No,
say
you won't
it.
even get a gun cock. You'll get grabbed. You'll get thrown off of buildings, decapitated, butchered, slaughtered, everything else. The very fact that you have the ability to the liberty to believe your falsehoods is because you live in this country. And it's only because of this country that you have it, what's here. And it's because of God, who we have decided, just like Joshua in the Old Testament, for me and my house, we're going to follow the Lord.
Right.
Just because we decided that in the beginning, we have that liberty. And the fact that they've destroyed it, and this is where a lot of people need to wake up, we've talked about it before, but the fact that one of the first places that they took God out of was schools. And there was a very particular reason, because if they could brainwash the kids, take God away from the vision of the kids, take away prayer, now they've taken away the Pledge of Allegiance, now they've taken away loving people, now they've taken away, now you've got to fit in your little box, or if you don't agree with me, you hate me. All these things, all because originally they took away God.
Well, they took away God.
They took God out of the schools and out of the public eye.
Well, they took God out of the schools, and in a sense, people think, well, like, you can't give them religious freedom if you're forcing God down their throat, right? And okay, all right, I hear you. But what are you basing the right and wrongs that they are now going to have to learn how to do in school off of? Because you need morals. And the moral compass, the moral actuator for good versus evil, what is good, what is not good, is God. God set that up.
Yep.
He gave us His law. How do you know it's not right to murder? The only reason anybody in the entire world knows that it's not right to murder is because God said,
Don't do
thou
it.
shalt not murder. Period.
And
And I don't care what religion you're from. You could be in any religion. They have laws against murder. Everyone.
Yep.
Every single one.
Yep.
Because
Hammurabi's-
why? Because
Hammurabi's
killing an
code.
individual person with no merited reason is bad. How do you know? Who's told you that? Somebody
God.
had to tell you that.
Yep.
Who told you that?
And he wrote them on a tablet and gave them to a dude who couldn't talk real well named Moses.
How many people really like their spouses or significant others? You like them, don't you? You don't like it when they go behind your back and cheat on you, do you? Why? What made you determine that that was not a good thing?
Because it said
Something had to
adultery's
tell
bad.
you. Somebody had to make that thing bad.
And this is where I'm gonna say another quote. This is by Benjamin Rush, one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, and he said,
Not Benjamin Franklin.
No,
Quote,
Benjamin Rush.
Franklin didn't sign the Declaration of
"Yes,
Independence.
the only foundation for a useful education in a republic. That's what we are. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic.
Yep.
Okay, is to be aid in religion. Without this, there can be no virtue, and without virtue, there can be no liberty. And liberty is the object and life of all republican governments. Without religion, I believe that learning does real mischief to the morals and principles of mankind." You want to know why schools are so bad right now? And they're teaching all this immoral stuff to kindergartners, third graders.
Oh, you're talking about the Don't Say Gay bill?
No, I'm talking about what New Jersey's doing.
That literally doesn't say Don't Say Gay?
No, I'm talking
you're
about-
talking about this garbage.
I'm talking about New Jersey and the videos that they're going to be teaching kids with about how to find certain body parts on females and that doing certain things privately while looking at bad stuff and
The
touching yourself
flagpole
is good.
erection video?
Yeah. Oh,
That was
dude. Okay.
That was
All this immoral stuff comes from the fact that they stopped looking at God.
Yeah.
Because without God, like I said, you
What's
can't
good?
have
What's
virtue.
evil?
You can't have virtue, which
You
is
don't have a guide.
without virtue, you can't have liberty.
Yep.
Without liberty, it all falls apart, man. And we're watching it, and it was
Watching
slow
it
at
live.
first. We're watching it live. Like It's live and unending, 24/7. You're watching it go. Teachers are refusing to teach because now they can't, in certain states, can't say gay. You got teachers getting mad because now abortion's being made illegal in certain states. You got all these people getting mad because we have the liberty to kill and destroy. And when I say kill, I do mean abortion. And when I say destroy, I mean destroy the minds of our children because they feel that they have the right to do that.
Yep.
And again, until we, those who believe that this is a nation that's supposed to be one nation under God, those of us who believe this, those of us who not only believe it but know it and live it, sitting in silence, keeping your head down and just doing your job and staying to yourself is no longer an acceptable attitude to have. Virginia flipped from a blue state to a red state because a bunch of moms got ticked off.
Well, that's going to be more. That's going to be more prevalent. But it's what I look at this and I go, it's sad that it took this long, right?
Right.
And why did it take that long? Well, one of the reasons is because of technically apathy or
No, what it comes down
people
to,
became really lazy.
well, the
didn't want to do
Democrats
it.
have always been trying to change things. They've always been scheming. They've always been lying. It's a way they've always
Yeah,
run.
but I'm not even going to pick on that, though.
Well, see,
That's so common.
when it comes to conservatives, when it comes to people who believe the Constitution, who believe in God, they had the mindset for many generations of, I'm just going to do my job. I'm going to pay my taxes. I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to take care of me and mine, and everything will take care of itself.
Well, actually, it goes back even further than that. The people who, when we're talking about what it means to be one nation under God, we have to go back to even what those core understanding beliefs are, which is that they were coming to with the understanding that everything that they have, the land that they were working, the family that they have, the spouse, their kids, the food on their plates, the clothes on their backs, the positions that they served in leadership, it all came from God.
Yep.
Them coming over to this land where they were in, that was all arranged, organized by God. The fact that they were allowed to live in this land, to worship God, because they were coming here to have
Many of them for religious freedoms in the beginning.
freedom.
You bring up a good point, and
It came back.
But
the starting point is.
and I agree. I agree with what you're saying. But even if you're not a traditionalist, right? And you don't, and let's say you're a modern, libertarian, not libertarian, liberal, college student right now, right? You're looking at that documents and all those historical facts, and you're trying to rewrite them, right? What's the whole 1619?
1619
right? They're trying to rewrite the history there. They're trying to hold on.
The Lincoln Project.
Hold on. My point is that I don't have to go that far.
Nope.
I don't have to go that far. I have to go to 2001.
Right.
Because 9/11 was a historic moment in history that they are taught in school. Now, that's taught.
Not so much they don't want to talk about it.
No. They're taught about it. They are definitely taught. I have a person who is of that same young age college student bracket, and he can definitely attest to the fact that they were taught this in high school. When you look at that and 9/11. It's a moniker of moment in time where everybody in this country recognized two things. One, what just happened was pure evil.
Yep. Done by evil doers.
Now hold on. Now I'm not talking about Bush. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking about the merited fact that
I know.
people hijacked planes and flew them into the Twin Towers,
and the Pentagon,
killing hundreds of people. Okay.
Yep.
Thousands of people, I think. I don't remember. It was thousands of people. Innocent people on our own land was evil.
Yep.
Now, you don't have to know. I don't have to give you a name of the person who did it. I don't need to track the origin of their beliefs. I don't need to track what country they're from. I don't need to tell you anything about them, person, place, whatever. None of those things matter. The act was evil. And this goes back to my previous point. How do you know that was evil? What made every person in this country recognize that act as evil? Because nobody was sitting there. Well, maybe there were some people of certain religious faiths that were still in this country being allowed to worship their God. celebrating that fact. Okay, that happened.
They weren't celebrating for long.
But most of this country, I would say a large majority of this country saw that as an act of evil on our own soil. Okay? 1, fact. 2, everybody in this country wanted to defend the country.
Yep.
They believed that this was worth fighting for. They believed that this nation had value. And that this was a violation of our freedom and our rights. To which I go back. Where do you get that from? What gave that to you? You can't go see an act happen and then come down the line, from 2001, we're 20 years later.
21 years.
21 years later, I forgot, we're 22. Right?
Yep.
COVID year, man, that still hits me. 22 years
You
later.
skipped right over that 2020.
22 years later, you come to this point, which is not long,
Nope.
okay, to have a mindset that doesn't want to acknowledge things that are evil in this country. The fact that people are grooming your children, okay, grooming your children so that pedophiles can have their way with them. Right?
Pedophiles and sex
Okay?
traffickers can kidnap
How
them.
can you not tell me that's not an act of evil? You have to be able to see it. Why are you blinded to it? You're not blind to it. You're actually looking the other way.
And the reason why they're looking the other way, and look, y'all can get mad at me all you want. The minute they made it socially acceptable to commit genocide, essentially, not genocide, but
You're talking about abortion. Yeah.
to commit an act of genocide by killing unborn babies, innocent life in the womb, you lose all sanctity of life at that point. We've gotten so used to it.
Again, an act of evil, but if you have lost the morals, going back to what you were saying,
Yeah.
about God being removed from schools, God being removed from this, God being removed from that.
He's been removed from courthouses
One nation,
because it might offend a criminal.
right? But one nation under God. If we don't recognize the value of that statement, okay, as an individual person, as a community, as a nation, as a whole, the moral values that actually comes with and stands for have the ability to distinguish good from evil, have the ability to be able to make righteous stands when something horrific comes across your doorstep. If you don't have those, you cannot then later down the road, and this is where we are today,
Yep.
okay, going just from 2001 to now, you cannot go to today, right, and stand on a podium and go, oh, well, that LGBTQ junk, that's horrible, or the fact that they're teaching my kids this or that or whatever in the school, or they're going to show my kids pornographic images and they're in 3rd grade and they don't need to see that. You lost the ability to do that because you didn't say nothing while it was happening.
Yep. And it's time to stand up, everybody. We need to get back to the core values of this country. We need to get, and the first of which being getting back to being that nation under God. That one nation under God. It's not this state, this belief, that belief. It's everybody united together as one nation under God. And we need to stand up and fight, guys. It's not too late. I think the road is hard, the road's going to be tough, and we're going to be fighting tooth and nail all the way through.
You got to fight like heck.
Yep.
I can't say the other one. Crowd will get mad at me.
Right, still in his line.
It's a T-shirt for Pete's sake.
Yeah, right. We don't need to steal this up, but
I'm just saying I can't. I don't want to get. I don't
I don't
know
wanna
if it's
get sued.
copyrighted.
I don't wanna get sued.
I don't know if he's got rights on it or anything. So I'll say fight like heck.
But we need to fight with everything that we got to get back to being that one nation under God. And we're going to keep diving into these core characters, these core things that have built this nation, this foundation of what built this country over the next several episodes.
Yeah, because it matters.
It matters more than you'll ever know.
Yep.
And also, look, I know we joke, I know we've been saying a lot of different things, but share this stuff with your kids. Because if all you do is sit here and listen, or you sit here and watch, and you just go, that's nice, and keep going along your way, it means absolutely nothing, and all you did was waste your time for an hour to watch a podcast.
Yeah, and your kids really are the ones that need the impact. You know what I mean?
And,
kids
and you need, go find different resources to help teach your kids. There's things, look, none of these guys are sponsors, but I love what they do. The Tuttle Twins, there's other books and everything else out there that'll help you teach your kids these things because the schools are not. And it's time to wake up and realize that it's not about you. Sorry, Mom. Your best friend that is now your 8-year-old little child is not your best friend. It's your child. It's time for you to grow up so you can raise them right. And that's what we need to get back to.
And if I may, and this is kind of a segue to what we'll talk about next time we're together. 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Same
On Tuesday.
Same channel. When we're talking about the Pledge of Allegiance, but if you want to get a good head start on this, parents, here, take your kid to a baseball game. Take them to a hockey game. I don't know, basketball maybe. I think they do it there too.
No, they don't. They stop.
No, do they?
Yep.
Oh, that's kind of shamey. But I do know for a fact hockey games still happens. Baseball games still happens. They're gonna have a moment where everybody stands, takes off their hats, and they sing the national anthem.
Yep.
Bring your kid. Don't let them sit. Make them stand. If
Make them
they have a
stand.
baseball hat, make them take it off.
Put it over their heart.
Go to school with your kid. Make sure he stands for the Pledge of Allegiance. Start teaching them.
If they still do it, 'cause some schools don't even do it.
You know, because if you don't do it, they aren't going to do it. Kids model what the parents do in front of them. And if you don't have respect for this country, and you don't have respect for the flag, and you don't have respect for the anthem, and you don't have respect for the Pledge of Allegiance, where's your kid going to learn it from?
Yep.
Because they're not going to learn it in school. So it's about time, sadly, parents might actually have to do their jobs for once. Because the government's not doing a good job anymore. And if you're waiting for them to
government was never meant to do that job.
I'm not saying it was. I'm not saying it was. But sadly, unfortunately, people have been just given more control and power to the government, thinking they're going to raise their kids right. Clearly, it's backfired. So take your kids back.
You know, Russia did that once. It didn't work so well.
Take your kids back. Start training them and raising them right. Teach them the Pledge of Allegiance. It's a good start. And if you teach them what it means, that's a better start.
And I'll tell you what. You want to hear a good way of what it means? Look up on YouTube, Red Skull, Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay.
Red Skull, Pledge of Allegiance.
Red Skull or Red? You sure it's Red Skull?
Not Red Skull,
Red
Red Skeleton. Sorry, Red
I
Skeleton.
was saying, Red Skull's a Marvel
Well,
villain.
there's two different ones. There's the Red Skeleton. As he says the Pledge of Allegiance, he also describes things. He makes it very poetic. And for a man who was a comedian and an actor, did a dang good job with it. Yeah. Also, the Johnny Cash Pledge of Allegiance, him explaining that is also. Have them listen to that, because these are men that knew what that meant, to be one nation under God. May not have had perfect lives, but they knew what it meant.
And another thing, if you're serving and you're serving in the military, God bless you.
Thank you.
And thank you. And you know what?
And for your families that are here, thank you.
And don't apologize. This is what I've seen this happen. Too many people come out of the military and they start apologizing. Don't apologize. Don't apologize. You know what's right. You learned.
Yep.
You were trained. That's not brainwashing. You believed in it. You believed and you fought for it. And you don't have anything to be ashamed of. Nope. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You should be proud of yourself. You should be proud for standing up for what you know is right at the end of the day. You go to sleep. You put your head on that pillow. You go to sleep at night. And your wife and kids are safe and sound with freedom to be able to go to the store and shop because of what you've done. And that's always worth fighting for, and never stop. And honestly, if there are certain people who are built for it, God bless you, because I appreciate every time I see a soldier or somebody in uniform. I make sure I shake their hands. I thank them for their service. And you know what? They don't get enough praise, and especially nowadays, they get trashed and they get talked bad about because of how horrible a human being they are. You're not a horrible person. You're one of the few people in this country that still understand what this nation stands for. And you deserve a round of applause, and I can't say enough. But again, because we have people like you that fight, and we have people here like us who are fighting, there's hope. I just want to say, there's still hope for this country. There's still hope for this country.
And so, this is the first episode of going through the foundation of this foundation series. We thank you for joining us on the new set at the new stoop. At the corner of Church and State. I mean, we're missing our corner now.
Shaved it off.
But we thank you for coming. Like I said, I'm your friendly neighborhood bearded weirdo. You can check the link, follow the link tree. That's where you'll find the YouTube channel, the Rumble channel, all the other things we're on, the Patreon. That's where you can find me. So please go out there, subscribe, click all the like buttons, the Rumble buttons, the stars, subscribe, do all that stuff.
Support us on Patreon.
Hey, support us on Patreon if you so feel that you want to do, and we thank you ahead of time already.
Yep.
And my brother over here,
Yep,
you can
streamsoflife.
streamsoflife.com, and you can listen to old messages. You can email him if you need to.
Sure.
You can do all that. And if you happen to be in southern New Jersey at around 10 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, you can bring up that website. It'll give you the address, and you come right down and worship with us on Sunday. And we would gladly embrace you as a brother and sister, and love to do so. So this has been another episode. See you in 2 weeks. We love y'all. Peace.
In America.